good viewing experience.
Well, that's you're talking about the TV show.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But the TV show is the draft. That's what the
exactly. And the other one was a nice sort of family gathering with the hockey community. I used to love going to because you'd run into all kinds of hockey people, but I think they got trapped by trying to keep what they thought were prime elements from the way it was, and that would be the team greeting the player in the little room there, which was awkward as heck.
Well, they did it by Zoom call.
Yeah, it's just awkward. It's not good television. And then, of course, the player comes out and gets interviewed by somebody else. Just have the interview. Trim that back.
Here's my thing for broadcasters. I'm not a broadcaster. I'm not a broadcast executive, and I'm barely a broadcaster. But my thing is just as a viewer, no one wants to watch a televised Zoom call. Okay? No. Nobody wants to watch a televised.
Most people on Zoom calls don't want to watch it,
yes.
let alone the viewing audience.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's just awkward as heck.
Really.
There's the delay.
Yeah.
We should do that here. Count to 3 when I ask you a question.
Luckily, this is not on Zoom. The show would be even worse, and that's hard to imagine.
Yeah, well, we've all worked with delays in the past. They're not very exciting. And if you're watching it, even less exciting. So we both agree that's a no guy. Yes guy, no guy. Where are we at? Number 5. The home run derby is the best all-star skill competition, i.e. the 3-point contest, dunk competition, NHL skills competition. The home run derby is the best of all that.
I'm probably against the grain on this, but I'm a yes guy on this. I love dingers. I'll watch dingers all night, and I really enjoy the home run derby. I always have a big family event around our house. We get the peanuts and the Cracker Jack, and we hunker down and
really
build a little home run derby pool and lay our bets and have some fun. But maybe we're weirdos, but I kind of enjoy it. Not that I don't enjoy. I still enjoy the 3-point contest. It's a lot of fun. But now that Steph doesn't go in it, hasn't been as good, and nobody really good goes in the dunk contest. At least not very often. So it's a low bar, but I'm going to give it to the home run derby.
I'm going to say no guy. I'm an anti-all-star break gimmick guy. I just don't.
You don't like any of them?
No, I don't. I never watched them. When I watched the Homer Derby, it's like, dude, he's tired. Or if it's a Blue Jay, oh yeah, he's going to kill himself in the second half. His home run totals are going to drop off because he's fatigued. It's an uncomfortable view for me.
Okay.
But the way you mapped it out with the family thing and sort of the wagering line or the in-house pool, that works.
You're in the majority. I think I'm definitely an outlier on this because I've expressed this opinion before and been absolutely hammered for it. But you know what? It's just how I feel, and I'm sticking to it.
And same for the 3-point. It's great, and then all of a sudden, what's it worth?
Yeah.
It's like disposable entertainment.
Yeah.
As soon as it's over, it's over.
You know what? The only good thing about those things is you do get some occasional classic moments. You get a Vince Carter doing what he did 25 years ago. You get a Steph Curry doing something special. You get I really love the one where they had Steph versus Sabrina there. With the crossover between the WNBA and the NBA. Those things, I think those things have a potential to be really fun. But it's hard to sustain them year after year after year.
And time sort of erodes. Like the NHL, one of the very first ones that I think was noteworthy was the hardest shot.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was, but now nobody takes a slap shot, so what's it worth?
Exactly. Exactly.
So let's veer into that game we started the broadcast with, mini-max. So let's apply it to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Just assuming or going with what they have now and starting the season, what's the minimum, in your opinion, they should do going forward that you'll accept?
The minimum they should do going forward is to acquire the top 6 forward the GM says he's going to acquire. I mean, I think doing what you say you're going to do is important as a hockey executive, especially in a place like Toronto. So Brad Treliving has pointed to that as a expectation, and I think every Leaf fan is waiting around to see who that guy is and who he becomes. And we all know it's not going to be easy. We all know they don't have a ton of trade pieces to deal with here, but Brad Treliving has certainly pointed to that as a need, and I think everybody agrees. You and I are sitting here agreeing that they need that. So that would be my minimum. They
do at some point. I'm going to go against the grain. My minimum is the way it is now. I would accept that. Just because I think that whoever that top 6 guy is shows up eventually later in the movie. What I want out of this is scrutiny on the bottom 6. I want that bottom 6 to be airtight so that when the top 6 guy shows up, it actually makes a difference. Like right now, as we've seen over the last 9 years, you had that guy and you couldn't support him.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I mean, there's a lot to be said for that. We just had Craig Button on, and he was, Craig made a great point about depth, right?
Yeah.
You looked at, I think every executive in this league, in my experience, when the Stanley Cup is awarded, they kind of start reverse engineering. How did they do it? How did the Panthers do what they did, right? And as much as we all focused on the free agency and the no state tax and Bill Zito doing this miracle worker's job of keeping all three of his relevant, impending free agents, keeping all three in Florida at what would appear to be team-friendly deals. A lot of executives that you hear about are going through that roster and saying, how did they build a roster like this? It's not just about the guys at the top of it, right? It's about the depth of this roster and the contributors they got throughout the playoffs, which kind of made like the third and fourth line on a lot of nights stars.
Oh, that third line's a meat grinder.
Third line was their best line on a lot of nights.
Oh, boy.
And then, we all know about the turning point of the way, Maurice deployed that fourth line and what it meant to him and to that team. So you're right. It's a big factor here for the Leafs. They didn't get enough out of those guys in the playoffs by any measure. And the question is, how do you get more, right?
Yeah. I mean, if at the end of the day, before the season starts, they've got a bona fide meat grinder third line, that takes care of a lot of stuff. Because to me, that sample size, if you want to go back over all those losses to Boston, especially the early part of the run, the early part of the 9-year sample size, it was the third and fourth line that got eaten alive. Except for when Kadri was there, but of course he got suspended. But I mean, that was a big factor for the Bruins.
Yeah, I agree. And here's the other the storyline that to me has kind of gone underplayed is, Max Pacioretty. They lose him. Like if he's not back, I mean, he was huge in that platform.
Yes, he was.
I mean, he had some really big moments. 8 points in 11 games. We all know about the big moments, but you start looking down the lineup, like. Scott Laughton, there was a lot of made, as Craig Button was pointing out, there was a lot made of Scott Laughton coming to town.
Yep.
And what did he end up with? 0 goals, 2 assists in 13 games.
He wound up in the fourth line.
There was a lot made of Steven Lorentz re-signing. What did he have in the playoffs? 0 goals, 2 assists, 2 points. I mean, we've talked about, David Kampf obviously being expendable because he only played 1 playoff game. But we talked about Bobby McMahon. Like, does he deserve that spot as a top 6 left winger? What was his playoff output? 0 goals, 3 assists. Bobby McMahon, a guy who prides himself on popping in a goal now and then, didn't get one in the playoffs.
He could be, if he could up that game where it's consistent, that could plug a big hole.
Yeah, I think that's a great point you make. Like they're going to need. You can ask the GM to perform, a great service to the roster by adding another player, and I think that's expected. I think that should happen.
At some point. Yep.
But clearly they're going to need some of these guys to do more. On the existing roster.
It's sort of like a cast call that we talked about this before about the top right winger and the second line left winger, but really it puts pressure on who's ever on the third and fourth line to deliver. And if they continue to be inconsistent, I think you have to look at moving some of those guys out.
Without a doubt.
So what is the max for you? The Leaf max?
I mean, I guess the Leaf max would be more if you're talking about changing the DNA. And I think you get, listening to Brad Treliving, he did an interview on Overdrive on free agency day, and he's done a handful of interviews since he uttered that phrase, change the DNA.
Yeah.
I think he probably wants to walk that back a little bit because I think a lot of us interpret it as change a lot of personnel, right? Because DNA kind of implies.
But he did say like the entire organization, so that sort of dissipated some of the blame, I guess. But I don't know. Is somebody not on the ice responsible for that?
Exactly. So my thing would be, but I think there's a lot of people who believe that, moving one, like essentially having one of the core 4 leave for not nothing, because you did get something back in the form of Waugh, but you need to do more. So
Yeah.
would it be a trade of a significant piece that's been here a long time? Would it, I guess the one that gets brought up a lot would be Morgan Riley. Now Morgan Riley would have a lot to say about that because he's got a no trade clause. But
It has to be somebody of value.
he's got value.
Yeah.
He's got value. He's got a lot of life left in those legs. I think if you really want the dynamic to change more, my max would be change more of the guys who've been here a long time and see if the dynamic changes.
I would agree with you. So the max is if you want to change the DNA, it's not just one player.
Exactly.
You don't just let arguably your best player walk away or you move him out. You need to change more. So I totally agree with you. That's a good max. Coming up at the top of the hour, Mike Farron from MLB Network. Also, we have Ryan Dinwiddie, coach of the Argos, who have the bye week. And we'll continue on with Overdrive live on YouTube, TSN 1050 and TSN 4.